What's the first feeling, emotion that a person has? Is it love or is it fear? Fear comes first, love comes first. We live in a world that says all you need is love, but is it really the first reaction to something? And then that reaction might be a reaction comes from the animal's soul. But what would the reaction be of the godly soul? Love first or fear first? Love of God or the sense of awe of God? What would be the first thing that you would sense and feel? Good question. Perhaps we'll get some answers in today's Tanya. We're learning about the makeup of the soul. We know the soul comes from a lofty place of eternal wisdom. That is the internal aspect of the divine, a part of God, not a creation of God. As a result, as God has 10 divine attributes, so the soul also has 10 powers of the soul, being that it's got a piece of God. It's a piece of God. So, in those 10 divine attributes, and the 10 powers of the soul, what do we experience first? Love? Or respect / fear / awe? I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. We continue and conclude today the 3rd chapter. Chapter 1, we learned in one word, nefashes. We got 2 souls. That's the important beginning. And we're learning about those 2 souls now. Chapter 2, in one word, is chelik, a part of. The second soul is a part of God, not a creation of God that comes through speech, but a part of God that comes metaphorically from thought, metaphorically from chachma, divine wisdom, the seed. And in this chapter, chapter 3, in one word, eser, 10. The makeup of the soul, now that we know where it comes from, is 10 parts, divided into 2. Intelligence and emotions. Intelligence are mothers because they give birth. They give birth to emotions. So let's understand this concept of giving birth that intelligence does. How so? And we're talking here about the divine soul. So that it's giving birth, divine intelligence to divine emotions. What's the divine intelligence here that occupies the mind of the divine soul, that leads, it gives birth to emotions? It's when you deeply contemplate with your mind the greatness of God. Because the divine soul is a part of God. So it wants to be attached to God. So the greatness of God, there's 3 basic dimensions. and that greatness and what you can meditate upon and what you can be aware of. That will give birth to proper emotions, divine emotions. The first one is how God fills the world. Just as the soul fills the body, God fills the world. God is immanent. He is not distant. We can sense his presence in divine providence and how we see our daily routine, and that we're guided. We're guided. And we can sense that. That's how God fills the world. That's the divine light that fills within nature, just as the soul fills within the body, that you can have an awareness and understanding of that part of God's engagement. But it doesn't end there, of course. There's another component of understanding and knowing God, and that God is transcendent. He is beyond. So there's an eminence of God. He is very much, there in the moment, and at the same time, beyond, transcendent. A life force that is not something that's internally part of creation, but encompassing creation. It's beyond us. It's that like sense of, ooh, there's something awesome here. Beyond. But that's not all. Because transcendence means you're transcendent of something. But then there's an aspect of God that we can contemplate, we can think about. On how everything before God is as if it's nothing. It doesn't exist. Not that God fills the world means there's a world to fill, or that God's beyond the world means there's something to be beyond. No. In his presence, there's nothing. Kulei kamei kalei chshiv. Everything is considered as not. There's an aspect of that there's a truth in all three of them, and all three are true at the same time. And therefore, when we contemplate that, whoa, it's quite a lot, by the way. Mm-hmm. We immerse ourselves in that. That gives birth to a midah, to a measured feeling. And the first measured feeling will be a sense of divine majesty, which is awe, not love. In other words, what will be born in one's thought, in one's mind, is a sense of the presence of God is real. And that is humbling, because you sense the greatness of God. And it brings, in a sense, a certain sense of bashfulness. It's like when you're in the presence of great people, a great person, there's a sense of humility, bashfulness, if you will, which is very powerful. And that sense of bashfulness then becomes something like a sense of dread in your heart. Now, that sense of dread is because you sense your distance. You sense the greatness of something that's awesome. Something that's awesome means it's like way beyond you, and you're awed by it. Meaning you're feeling your sense of smallness and the sense of the loftiness, the greatness of that which is you're contemplating. And in this instance, we're talking about God. And that's how you get in your heart a sense of that arouses fear and dread of God, which is an expression of the attribute of gvura. Gvura means strength, power, awesome power that the heart senses and feels. And then also a second feeling will be aroused through this contemplation of the three levels of the divine that we spoke about. And of course, the more you contemplate it, the more it'll be developing that feeling is an expression of love of God. It will give birth to a love of God, that the heart will glow with an intense love like a fiery flame. A desire, a passion, a longing of the soul that yearns like a fiery flame to connect to the Ein Sof. As the verse says, my soul longs for you, and it faints. My soul thirsts for God. Powerful words. That's the element of fire that's in the divine soul. So you have the element of fire and the element of water. Element of water is like the moisture in the brain. The brain is more cold and calculated. And fire is in the heart. And it will give then this thirst, right? You're thirsty when you're dry. When you feel a fire in you, right? You're dry in a desire to connect, to cleave. So this is given birth through Chachma and Bina. Chachma being the father, Bina being the mother. In general terms, we call all of them mothers, but specifically Chachma is that kernel, that seed of the awareness of the divine that then is fully developed through a contemplation, meditation, bringing it into fully developed understanding of Bina that expands upon, elucidates it. But then we need the third element of the intelligence, and that's Das. Das means attachment, as the word Das comes from the concept that Adam knew Eve, means they had intimate relations, but it says he knew her. Das, because there's a deep connection. So Das is what takes from the right, the left brain, the frontal lobe, and brings it to connect with the idea in a very profound, deep way, that it becomes real for you. Because we can know something intellectually, but that doesn't mean it's real for us and we really connect with it. Das is that capacity of the mind that allows it to funnel from just an abstract, philosophical idea to an idea that you sense its realness. Just like you take your hand and you pound it on the table. You hear it, you feel it, you see it. The hand pounding on the table. It's real. So is the awareness of godliness. That the godly soul, when it contemplates, meditates upon the reality of God, both within the world, beyond the world, and that there is no world on all three dimensions, that it brings through Das a real connection to it, that it becomes so real. At a very lofty level, of course. And it provides the substance, the vitality for the emotion of first awe, first reverence, fear of presence of God. Fear means the presence of God. As when there's a presence of a person in the room, we act differently, right? So that's a sense of fear. But here it's a deeper one. So it's a deeper idea of not just presence, but awesomeness. And then that will also bring to love. And but interesting to note that all comes before the love, generally speaking, because we're speaking about the awareness of God. And God, whatever awareness you're going to have is first going to bring a sense of his greatness, his awesomeness, which then bring to reverence and awe before it will bring to love. That concludes chapter 3. Now we have a good foundation of understanding the makeup of the soul. Intelligence, Chachma, Bina, V'das, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, and the 7 emotions. The 2 basic ones are love, which is chesed, kindness, that's motivated by love, and gevura, which is strength, that's motivated by fear/awe. Of course, we understand that when you have a love for someone, you'll do an act of kindness. When you have a fear, that will bring to a strong refrain. So you have a fear that a child has a knife and they could hurt themselves. That fear leads you to restrain. That's the idea of awe. You have a sense of something that's greater than you. Kind of like when you're in awe, you're breathing in, you're holding in, you're refraining, as opposed to enveloping and grasping another. All right. Do we have any questions? Vicky in California, does everyone experience in the same way in these stages? No, not at all. And when you mean the stages, you mean the 3 ways to be aware of God: immanence, transcendence, and the only reality. No, for sure not going to be experienced the same at all. The understanding won't be either the same. But that takes a long time to develop sufficient understanding that you can meditate, contemplate, and that it should be real. I can't say I'm so great at this. I understand the teachings, but it's a very lofty level to be able to think, meditate, and that it should produce a feeling. We're going to learn more about that. That it's not so simple to be able to do that. Just because you think something and aware of something, and yes, even you use your front lobe of das to bring it into the heart, to have a real feeling in the heart. That's not so easy, not so simple. So definitely not everybody's experiencing that connection the same way, and not the stages either, and the awareness. Good question. Tabida. When the soul is coming down into this world, does it already have love and fear of Hashem? Absolutely. It's a part of God. So the love means the desire to attach. Fear means the sense of something greater that makes you feel small. You're in front of the Grand Canyon. There's a sense of like, whoa, this is awesome. You feel your smallness. Excuse me a moment. Hello? Okay. You feel your smallness. So you're standing in front of the Grand Canyon. That's awesome. So when you're thinking about the greatness of God, Grand Canyon is nothing compared to that. So it's going to bring a sense of smallness. Not that you are worthless. No. If you're standing in front of the Grand Canyon and you don't feel that you're worthless, you just feel vulnerable. You feel small because you're in front of this vastness. So the soul feels that before it came into the body. The problem we have is because the body and the animal soul is kind of covering over that reality. So if you contemplate upon it, about the reality of God, again, filling the world, transcending the world, and the only reality, not the only reality of the world, the only reality, period, right? Then that's going to bring you to two things: how small and how great He is, how small you are and how great God is, and a desire then to want to connect, have a passion that you want to connect. So the soul has that, and we have it now. Before it came down, it was there, openly revealed. Now we've got to bring it out. Excellent questions. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions? Any other comments? Clubhousers, anybody? All right. Beautiful. Amazing. Folks, just want to share with you that this coming Sunday and Monday, 6 days away, we're going to be doing a matching charity campaign for all the work that we do here in Montreal and throughout the world, as you are part of it. If anybody would like to help and to send out whether emails, text, social media, and to support what we're doing, if you could either private message me, I'd like to create for you a link, perhaps with your name on it even, if that's okay with you. And that way we could gain the support that we need in order to bring this to all these teachings to the next level of disseminating. So whoever could reach out to me, that would be amazing. Okay. And if not, I'll reach out to you. But if you could to me, that would help. Thank you. Amal, if someone commits suicide, would their soul come again to live and to try again to serve God better the next time? Definitely, it's possible. I mean, I'm not going to say for certain that that's what's going to happen. I don't know those things, but definitely, yes, it can happen that the soul would come back, even if a person took their lives. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Just to say hello to Daphne and to In the Philippines, I can make Amur. I don't know if I got that right. Zar in Malaysia. Ron in Albany. Clem in Brisbane, Australia. Judith in Indonesia. Oh la la, we're getting from all over. Vicky in California. That's like, almost nondescript place compared to these other. I'm joking. Davida and Liba in New York. Lorraine is with us in Pennsylvania. June and also in Australia. Amal, I'm not certain where. Elise in Georgia. Jeff is in Michigan, unless you're in Florida right now. Carmen in Texas. Folks, just a reminder also, it's Hanukkah. I'm sorry, I should have said a happy Hanukkah to everybody. We're the fourth day. Tonight is the fifth light. We say hi to CJ, to Marcy, Vilma, Jay, Jeffrey. We have Koi with us, Jennifer, Lima, Peru, and Jennifer in Minnesota, Rachel, South Carolina, Yenta Telaventa. Some names I can't make out over here. Happy Hanukkah. Nana. Deshemeidele. Alice. Sorry, I can't make out some. Yes. So, fifth light, more light in this world. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you for Chabad and Kadesh in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and pleasure to share with you, Tanya. Have an amazing, great day. A happy Freilich and Hanukkah. And Rambam coming up. God bless. Be well.